Hey, what's up, everybody? I know it's been a while, but I'm making an upload now, and I intend to do more. This year's been tough for me, okay? Had 3 deaths in the family, did a lot of self-reflection after, looked at how I talk, looked at how I go about things, looked at things that I've struggled with, a lot of shit, right? A lot of problems. So I looked at all of that, and this year's been very rough, though. And I didn't really have time to do YouTube shit, So, sorry about it. I know I had promised an upload and then bailed on you. I'm sorry. Life came up, But in this upload, I'm going to talk about politics as a whole and how I see American politics right now. And I do intend to have uploads after this. For all I know, there could be another 3 deaths in the family in a year time. I doubt it. But I intend to do more uploads. But this upload is going to be about just politics as a whole here. So I'm going to start with just talking about how I view the 2 parties. What I view the Republicans and the Democrats as are 2 sides of the same coin, right? Both are bad. Both are shit. Okay? Both of them. Any politician is shit. Right? But they are shit for different ways and for different reasons. So, Democrats, okay, I'm going to start with them. And if anybody watching this is a Democrat, hear me out. And then when you hear what I say about the Republicans, hear me out on that too. Same thing goes to the other side. I'll try to be as respectful as I can, though. So, one thing I've noticed, especially with Democrats, is they rely more on, pandering and sympathy. That's more or less what they rely on. Everything with them is about sympathy. And another thing with them is that with the Democrats, it's more or less everything is my way or the highway. And Republicans are like that too. Except, while Republicans are like this with abortion and a lot of things I see that they do, I believe they try to force religion into a lot of shit, and that they let their religious views influence a lot of what they do. What Democrats want are things that they try to force on everybody else that adjust the way that people live, right? Republicans are just more yeah, you don't want to do it, don't do it in our fucking state kind of thing, right? What Democrats want is a bigger federal government and people being more having to kind of conform to what they want and wanting to force their views onto everyone. And it's not 1 or 2 views like it is with the Republicans. It's everything. It's everything, right? Now, instead of actually looking at their own party, all that Democrats have done is blame the other side. And same with Republicans too. Both of them do that. They blame the other side, right? But what the Democrats do differently is that, I'm just going to be real. I'm tired of hearing about January 6th. I'm sorry. January 6th was a bunch of idiots, okay? It was a bunch of idiots. It was a bunch of people doing stupid shit, okay? Democrats are sitting here trying to do committees, and you got Democrat voters talking about insurrectionists, never forget, trying to act like it's 9/11. No, it's not a fucking 9/11, okay? Excuse my language, but it's not. It's not. But Democrats act like January 6th was 9/11. First off, let me tell you this. You can do all the January 6th committees and everything else. Nothing is going to come of this except for a gigantic waste of taxpayer money. That's all that this is going to be. I'm sorry if you do not like hearing that, but that's what this is going to end up being, is a giant waste of money. Now, on the Republican side of things, all they've been doing is deflecting to the BLM rioting that happened last year, right? Democrats try to go and blame the Republicans and say, oh, these were right-wing extremists, these were these guys, these were these... No, I'm sorry. Even though there were outside agitators from the other side of the political spectrum, even though there were outside agitators, those outside agitators did not outnumber, there was no way that they would outnumber that amount of peaceful protesters, while the peaceful protesters are standing idle by chanting Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. Sorry, I personally don't see that as realistic. That being said, the right wing should be condemning the behavior on January 6th instead of blaming that, just like the Democrats should be condemning BLM's riots last year instead of deflecting to January 6th every time something comes up. Because that's pretty much all it is now from Democrats, is if you even mention anything of a failure that Biden has done, any kind of failure of Biden's, right? All you hear, January 6th, Trump, January 6th, Trump, January 6th, Trump, January 6th. That's all you hear. Okay, why can't you just admit that Biden made a mistake? Just like Trump supporters that are cultists too. Why can't you admit Trump made a mistake instead of deflecting to Obama? Why can't you do that? Okay, why can't people that actually support Trump more so admit? Now, I don't like Biden myself either. I don't like Biden. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump either, but I don't like Biden at all. I hate Biden, right? Now, what I'll say about it is this. Do I believe that he fucked up on the withdrawal from Afghanistan? Yeah, absolutely. Do I believe that the 45th president, do I believe that Trump had a better plan to get out? Yeah, absolutely. I do. That being said, yes, Biden should be criticized for his fuck up with how he did it. He should be criticized. Because honestly, the way he did his withdrawal sucked. Now, yeah, he still did a withdrawal. I'm happy that we withdrew from Afghanistan. We needed to get the fuck out. Okay? So don't think that I'm going to diss Biden all the way for that. No. Yeah, we should have got out of Afghanistan sooner than we did. But at least we got out. At least he didn't keep us in there. That being said, he should be criticized for how shitty of a way he went about it instead of bringing up Trump. Okay? And then the only time Republicans really bring up Biden's failures is to try to blame him for problems or to try to deflect from shit. Okay? What I want to know is this. How are people that supported Donald Trump and how are people who support Joe Biden going to sit here and blame the other side of supporting a pedophile, rapist, or whatever? How the fuck is either side going to do that? That means if both sides are willing to be that way, then that means both political parties and both people who have partisan political views are a bunch of hypocrites. I'm sorry, but that's how I see that. I see that as hypocritical. That's Republicans and that's Democrats. Now, I'm going to get to filibuster. I'm going to get to the filibuster because that's a big one to Democrats, especially right now, because they're trying to get rid of it, right? I just want to ask any Democrat watching this, do you want to see the day where there is no filibuster, Republicans get the majority, and they can do whatever the fuck they want, and there's nothing you can do about it? And it could be even a situation where they gain the majority without having a popular vote just because of the specific states they won. Do you really want to deal with that? If you do, by all means, get rid of the filibuster, okay? By all means, keep going for that. Just like Republicans, your side, you know the importance of that because that stops one party from gaining complete totalitarian control based on winning more states. That stops that. That gives the outside states a say. Democrats don't want that because that stops them from being able to put their views onto others. Republicans want to keep it because it allows them to obstruct. Both sides are on the side that they are on regarding filibuster reform for horrible reasons. Horrible and selfish reasons. But neither side wants to look at that. Instead, they're just like, well, it's the only way we're going to get anything passed. No. You get things passed by working with the other side, negotiating and making concessions. And the problem is that Democrats a lot of times do not want to make the concessions that would be needed. Okay? Because they are all or nothing, my way or the highway. Republicans are the kinds that they won't give you what you want unless they get something they want. Okay, so you got to make concessions. That's how negotiations work. That is how the U.S. Congress is supposed to work. Okay, you can't get rid of the filibuster just because you don't like how the process works. Okay, getting rid of the filibuster is only going to empower the other side even worse when they get in power, and they're going to see what you did, and they're going to be, oh yeah, fuck you. Okay, that's what's going to happen. Now, let's talk about the Supreme Court, expanding the Supreme Court. Do you really want to start a precedent where every time one party wins House, Senate, and President, that they decide, yeah, we're just going to expand the Supreme Court, and we're going to make a power grab by expanding the Supreme Court? Do you really want that? Because if that's what you want, go ahead and go for that. Matter of fact, I'm going to mention about like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all this. Was Mitch McConnell hypocritical for denying Obama's Supreme Court nomination? Abso-fucking-lutely. So when it comes to that, I'm on your side with that, okay? I'm on your side. However, here's something that needs to be known. He did not cheat. He did not steal that Supreme Court nomination. He played the game, and he used the rules, and he used them in a dirty manner. Okay? Don't be mad at him because he knows the game and how to play the game. What that means is you need to play the game with him. Okay? That's what that means. You need to play the game with him. However, Democrats are too caught up in this trying to be fair and trying to have the moral high ground. They are too caught up in the moral high ground to even do that. So they won't even play the game and play by the actual rules, which Republicans are doing. It's not Mitch's fault that the fucking Democrats have no testicles whatsoever and let the Republicans do whatever they want. That is not McConnell's fault. Okay? He's exploiting it, but it's the side of the Democrats. It's their fault for being that way. Now, at the same kind of aspect of this, right? He did it right. If Democrats want those Supreme Court nominations and those Supreme Court picks when they get the opportunity, then what they need to do is they need to win the Senate. And they can do the exact same thing that Mitch McConnell did. Okay? Then maybe we could get some kind of policy that is done in a bipartisan way to solve that problem so this kind of manipulation of it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, the other side is too much of cowards, and they're too soft to play the game. That's all it is. Sorry, that's what it is. Now, when it comes down to vaccinations, right? When it comes down to vaccines, I'm sure people wanted to hear this. A person has a choice on vaccination or not. Now, do private businesses have a right to deny service to people who refuse to get vaccinated? Yes, absolutely. But it's not the government's place to tell people that they have to get vaccinated. If I wanted to live in a country with a government like that, I would move to Europe, okay? If a person wants a government like that, and if a person wants a government that is designed and does work like that with that kind of power, move to a European country, okay? That's what I would do. I don't want to move to a European country. I love my rights and my freedoms here too much. Now, that being said, at the same time, a lot of this shit about microchips and things like that, that's fucking retarded, okay? That's my opinion. If you believe that microchips are in these vaccines or whatever, you're entitled to believe that. I do not believe you are retarded, but I believe that the premise of a microchip inside of a vaccine is retarded, okay? Point blank, plain and simple. Now, at the same time with this vaccination issue, this is another example of what I'm talking about with Democrats trying to force things on people. Okay, when you start having Biden talking about people going door to door, okay, you're trying to have people go door to door and bother people at their home for some shit about vaccination. Listen, I'm not pro-vax or anti-vax, okay? I have a recommendation from my doctor. I don't need to get vaccinated due to natural immunity. I've had COVID twice, okay? The second time Eva said, my natural immunity's fine. I really don't need a vaccine, okay? So that's that. I'm not anti-vax. If I hadn't had COVID before and it wasn't for that, I'd consider getting vaccinated. But here's the thing. When you start having people going door to door and bothering people at their home, all that's going to do is piss people off. People are going to get even more pissed off about this shit because you're forcing it down their throat, and now they can't even be at home without it being forced down their throat. Now these people are going to be even more combative about vaccination. When you have people telling me that my choice not to put a vaccine in my body, it makes me a horrible person that doesn't care about others and all that, that's only going to make me be more resistant to doing it. That's all that's going to do. Now, I don't know, you may react to things like that differently, but all that's going to do is make me more defensive and less likely to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of the rhetoric has been around that and grouping people that aren't vaccinated as anti-vax nut jobs, which unfortunately the Democrats have painted people that way. They've used political partisanship to paint everybody who's not vaccinated as a Republican, despite the fact that that if you look at the lack of vaccination rates, Black Americans have the lowest vaccination rates in the country. I wonder why that, because there's a lot of medical mistrust. I didn't know that Black people were Republicans all of a sudden now, okay? So that's contradictory to all of their rhetoric and all of the shit that the Democrats say. But they won't address that. They will not address it. And if they do, they'll address it in a way that dismisses it. Okay? Now, when it comes down to abortion, things like that, I mean, it's a state thing. If different states have the right to do things the way they want, that's called states' rights. Do I personally agree with Texas's abortion bill? No. For one, I don't agree with the government encouraging people to snitch on each other. That's the main thing. That's sitting here saying, yeah, if you know somebody that's involved with helping this person get an abortion or got this, you file civil suit, $10,000 bounty, You know, I don't support anything that encourages people to snitch on each other. Point, period. Right? Now, I don't believe that abortion is the government's business. That's my personal take. I don't believe it's their business. But my problem with it especially comes from encouraging people to snitch on each other. Now, the Democrats, on the other hand, are making it a matter of a sexism issue and saying that's exclusively what it is when it's not. Because not everybody is against abortion for sexist reasons. I personally, like I said, that's not the government's business. I don't get involved in it. But do I agree with it? No, I don't. But I'm not going to sit here and try to tell people that they don't have a choice what to do with their body, right? Apply that to vaccines. You have the right-wing groups that are completely anti-abortion and want it completely banned and try to say this person shouldn't be able to do this with their physical body and whatnot. Okay, fine. You have the right to your opinion. The problem is when you're making laws about it. Same thing with vaccine mandates. The problem is not that you have that opinion. The problem is coming from you making legislature reflecting that opinion. Your opinion should not be the reason for your legislature, be it a religious opinion or not. Especially if it's a religious opinion, it should be especially more scrutinized before you make a law regarding that. But nobody thinks of that because there's supposed to be a separation of church and state, but people don't think about it that way. Because people differentiate, but nobody wants to think about it that way. People want to differentiate right and wrong, and they think that what's in the Bible is automatically right and what's not in the Bible is automatically wrong, or whatever and whatnot, right? I'm not going to get into a religious discussion. I'm just saying what people's subjective opinions become. Now, Democrats and the left wing have this thing where, again, they are very absolutionist with things too. And their absolutionism crosses into that ground with abortion and mandatory vaccinations and things like that. So, sorry, I'm waiting on a light while I cross. But with vaccination, again, abortion, it's your body, your choice. With a vaccine, it's my body, my choice right now. That's how it should be. If you do not want to be around unvaccinated people, that is your choice. But we do not need laws telling people that they need to get vaccinated. The only thing that's going to do is cause more of a political rift. It's going to cause more of a partisan divide. And all it's going to do is amp people up more and more and more and more and more. That's all it's going to do. Gun control. Gun control. When it comes down to gun control, here's the thing. We already have 22,000 gun laws on the books. You're expecting criminals to magically start following the law just because you made more laws. Sorry, not going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is that people who were exercising their rights are not going to be able to freely exercise their rights now, and criminals are going to keep doing what they were doing. Okay? You want to ban fucking assault rifles and things like that? Okay, let me put it straight. Let me put it to you straight. The only people who will turn those in are law-abiding citizens. They are the only ones who will do that. The other side of this is that people know that this law is going to happen, and they're going to realize they can get more money selling those guns into the street than they can make off of the fucking buyback if you did one of those. I'm sorry, it's true. If you don't believe me, go out to the street and see. It's not hard. So they'd make more money doing that than from a buyback. If they don't do that, all they're gonna do is they're gonna fucking stash their fucking guns somewhere and report them as stolen. Or report them as missing before the new laws are enacted. Good luck. The police can't prove a thing because they don't even know where to get a warrant to search. They don't even know any of that. Not gonna happen. Nothing's gonna be accomplished from that. Except for a bunch of guns are just gonna go ghost. So a bunch of guns that people knew about are ghosts now. Congrats, you created more ghost guns. Congratulations. Also, the advent of 3D printing, the more it goes on, it's just going to invalidate gun control more and more and more. In fact, this is a little bit of an off-topic thing to mention. I'm predicting that Europe is going to have a major gun problem within probably the next 10, 15 years because of 3D printing. And they are going to have to regulate 3D printers. And the government's pretty much going to ban citizens from having 3D printers and things like that, just like they're starting to do with knives. Because 3D printing is going to invalidate their gun control laws. And people are just going to print their shit there. People are already starting to print their shit here. Okay? So it's not going to change anything. Gun control is only going to empower people who are criminals. A gun registry, basically, that just gives people free rein to know who to rob and who not to rob. Because people that's on a registry, okay, I know not to go there. Anytime I used to ever rob somebody when I was younger, I never would have robbed somebody on a gun registry, I'll tell you that. I would have went to the houses that weren't. Real shit. Now, when it comes down to actually enforcing gun control laws, no criminal open carries. I'll tell you that right now. No criminal open carries. That means for you to catch a criminal with an illegal firearm, police will need to be able to search the individual with an illegal firearm. That is where the Fourth Amendment comes into play. If a person is illegally carrying a firearm, they are going to conceal carry. The firearm is not visible to anyone. The only one who knows they have it is themselves. The police are not going to be able to search that person just thinking, oh, he might have a gun, unless they have probable cause that fits the legal standard of probable cause that you are guilty or involved in a crime. They will not be able to search. Period. That is the law. That is the Fourth Amendment right. Even if this person is open carrying, unless it is a state where open carry as a whole is illegal, unless it is a state like that, if a person is even open carrying, they can claim that they could just block the search and refuse to even show their paperwork or anything if open carry is legal because of DeBerry v. U.S., because they have the Fifth Amendment and the Fourth Amendment right once again. So here we go. Again, gun control is shut out. Again, right there. There is no way that this is going to be enforced, and all that it's going to do is make people who are legally carrying guns just illegally conceal carry things they shouldn't have, or illegally stash shit that they shouldn't have. That's all that's going to happen. The mass shootings, the mass shootings are not caused by guns. This is my opinion about mass shootings now. I'm going to get on this. I do not believe that firearm ownership is the primary cause of mass shootings. I do not believe that. I believe that the primary cause of mass shootings is the media. In fact, the media is the primary cause for a lot of our problems. The thing with the media, every time that there's a mass shooting, the media makes a martyr out of the person. And the media puts that person and just plasters their face all over the TV, all over the internet, all over social media. Everywhere you look, you're going to see that shooting.